Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I know what you're thinking. You're like, man, George, your voice sounds horrible. But I promise you that I am more committed to the process of supporting you on a daily basis than I am my voice. So you have to bear with me here. Been doing a lot of speaking lately and some guest appearances and podcasts. So Yesterday we talked about failure and how you can reframe your view of failure in order to overcome your fears. But I had a lot of people hit me up, and they were hitting me up with questions like, George, that sounds really good, but how do I overcome my fears on a daily basis? I mean, give me some more tangible strategies. And you know me, I like those strategies. I like those specifics. So here we go. I actually pulled out, you've heard me talk about this before. I have an article that I have printed that I keep with me. And it was done by Leo over at Zen Habits. And I want to share with you this article and some thoughts because it's all about how to overcome your fears on a daily basis. It's just really good reading. You might go check that out on zenhabits.net. But, fear of something bad happening in the future is one of the things that it just makes us human, right? Animals might fear an immediate danger that's happening right now, but we're the only ones that fear something that might happen, that could happen, that isn't really happening. We're making it up in our brain, in our mind, right? We're playing out this scenario. And this fear, a lot of people say is necessary, but it really stops us from doing something because of something that may or may not happen. Now, sometimes there are fears that are important, and we got to understand that our brain is wired to protect us. But I found that most fears are completely unnecessary. And I think you'd agree with me on that. Most fears are things that'll probably never happen that are just keeping us from being our greatest versions of ourselves. So you might be letting all types of fears hold you back, like fear of failure, like we talked about yesterday, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of intimacy, fear of success. And believe it or not, some people fear that success and money, or maybe fear not being good enough. And I think that last one is a real big one. I think most people fear that they're not going to be good enough. And that's really the root of most other fears. Their own self-esteem. We fear that we'll fail because we're not good enough, that we'll lose a relationship because we're not good enough, that we're not going to be able to handle the success. We fear intimacy for the same reason. We fear getting rejected. It's all because we don't think we're good enough. But here's the thing. Once you realize that having fear is natural, that's okay. But letting it stop you from going after your dreams, that's a mistake. That's a tragedy. I did this in my life. Leo in his article talks about doing it in his life for decades as an adult and letting the fear keep him from doing what he wants to do. And I find it even sometimes I still do that. And it turns out that as we look back on our life, just like Wayne Dyer likes to say, these fears are baseless. They really are. And when you're able to start to overcome this fear of not being good enough, and you can start putting things in perspective, that's when you're going to see results. That's when you're going to see things happen. Now still, even today, there's times when I feel like, when I'm in front of tons of people, I may not be good enough to be in front of them. I'm speaking to a huge group, and am I really the person that should be there? But listen, some of the most successful people on the planet, Barack Obama, Steve Jobs, Paul McCartney, J.K. Rowling, they all had this same fear, but they didn't let it stop them. So how can you not let your fear stop you? Because the greatest barrier to success is the fear of failure, right? So how do you beat your fears? Let's give you a couple of ideas and steps that you can use to overcome this. First, acknowledge your fear. So many times we try to avoid it. This is a huge step. If you just do this one thing and you acknowledge your fear, you're going to be able to face it. The second thing is write it down. I know that sounds kind of weird, but write it on a piece of paper. Writing it down is not only acknowledging you have it, but it's bringing it to the light of day. It's something that lets you take control over it. It's like when I say journaling helps you, because journaling helps you to really drive through your thoughts in more detail. Write it down, because then you can create solutions to overcome it. Third, feel the fear. It's okay. It's not about pushing it way deep down inside or eliminate it or avoiding it. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Even the most amazing, people, Jessica Alba, Al Pacino, they all have fears. They all talk about that. These are just examples of successful people that have all said they had to push fear back in order to push through to get to the best life that they've now started to live. So feel your fear. 4, Ask yourself this, and I do this all the time when I'm scared about a situation I want to go through. What's the worst thing that can happen? Often it's really not as bad as we think. And if you can handle, you're not going to die. You're not going to, we're talking about fears that are overcomable, right? Fears that, the worst possible thing that happened, that you're going to be broke, that you're going to lose a relationship, that you're going to be rejected, that you're going to fail at some venture you're going to do. Worst case scenario, you're going to learn the lesson. You're going to keep surviving. You're going to keep moving. Just ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Because when you can get good with the worst case scenario, everything else is a cakewalk. So ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? The fifth thing, the bottom line is just do it. Act in spite of your mood. Act in spite of your emotions, because when you can remind yourself that your success and your best life is on the other side of your fear, you push through it anyway. You just do the things that most people aren't willing to do. Another thing, number 6, you could prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for battle. Be mentally strong, physically fit, mentally awake. Plan and prepare and be ready to know that no matter what, you will make it through it. Number 7, be in the moment. Here's the thing. Fear of failure and other similar fears are fears in the future. We get caught up with worrying about what might happen instead of just banishing all the thoughts of the future. It's not even happened yet. Stop thinking about the future or making a mistake or failure and focus on right now. Just right now. What do you need to do next? Take one step. Just do it in the moment. Find yourself thinking about the moment and bring yourself to that point where you can just take that next step and you're not caught up in what's going to happen afterwards. That's a big one. Be in the moment. Number 8, small steps. Conquering fears and pursuing a life goal is it's overwhelming. It's intimidating. So start small. Just take little steps, one foot in front of the other. Like I said a few minutes ago, just doing this, that's how you get up a mountain. One step at a time, one foot in front of the other, small steps. Number 9, celebrate every success. I love this one because every single thing you do, celebrate it, even the smallest things, and use these feelings of success and victory to propel you past any fears that you have on things you do in the future. Bill Gates describes a spiral of success that he used to build Microsoft up from its early success of, MS-DOS to its success as Windows and Word, Excel, Internet Explorer. Use that idea of spiraling yourself to success, and that'll push you past your fears. I really hope that you will do everything you can to start doing what I talked about yesterday and view your failures differently, because it'll help you to deal with your fears. And then today, push past your fears. Don't wait till things happen. Prepare yourself to deal with fear. Prepare yourself with strategies and tools and tips and support and people and all the things you need, music, pictures, vision boards, whatever it is you need to push you through fear, because standing on the other side of fear is going to be your greatest life. Standing on the other side of failure and fear is going to be the life that you've been waiting for, the life that you know is going to make you feel better, is going to make you more happy, is going to make you more fulfilled, and it's the one that's going to help you to impact other people. You don't impact other people when you run away from your fears. So find that stuff in your life you need to be dealing with and hit it head on. I know you can do it. Like Les Brown always says, you have greatness inside of you. That's my message for today, and I hope you use it in your life. Share this message, share this podcast for me. If you would do that, it would mean the world to me. And I'll look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. Have a great day.